Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. What makes a man risk everything? What makes him commit, protect, and fight for something with unwavering passion? It's not money, it's not power, it's something deeper, something primal. You see, men are driven by a powerful force that has shaped history, built civilizations, and won wars. That force? The desire to serve and protect something greater than themselves. But here's the secret. He will only risk everything for you if you awaken that instinct within him. Men crave purpose, not just love. A man doesn't just want love, he needs a purpose in that love. He needs to feel like he is contributing, building, and protecting something meaningful. When a man feels needed in a deep, authentic way, he will move heaven and earth for you. So if you want a man to step up for you, give him a reason to. Not through demands, not through ultimatums, but by creating an environment where he feels his role matters. Respect fuels his fire. Listen carefully. Appreciation is to a man what love is to a woman. If he doesn't feel valued, he'll shut down. But when he feels truly appreciated, he will work harder, love deeper, and commit fully. A simple "I believe in you," a genuine thank you, or an acknowledgement of his efforts, these small acts create a massive shift. He will fight for what he feels respected in. Emotional safety makes him unstoppable. Here's something most people miss. Men are not just protectors, they also need protection. Not physically, but emotionally. The world is constantly telling men to be tough, to suppress their emotions. But when a man finds a space where he can be real, vulnerable, and safe, that's when he fully commits. If you can provide a place where he doesn't feel judged for his struggles, but empowered by his potential, he will risk everything to keep that connection. Feminine energy awakens his masculine instinct. Masculinity thrives in the presence of true femininity. Not weakness, but grace, warmth, and intuition. A strong man doesn't want to compete with his partner. He wants to complement her. When you embrace your natural feminine energy, whether it's through kindness, softness, or emotional depth, you activate his deepest instinct, the desire to provide, protect, and cherish. Challenge him to become his greatest self. Men need a mission. If he feels stagnant, he loses his fire. If you want a man to rise, don't just accept him as he is. Challenge him to be more. But here's the key. Challenge him with love, not criticism. Inspire him with a vision of his best self, and he'll associate that growth with you. And when a man sees you as the person who brings out his greatest potential, he will fight to keep you in his life. Believe in him before he believes in himself. Every great man in history had someone who saw his greatness before he did. A man will risk everything for the one person who sees not just who he is, but who he can become. If you want him to be all in, be his source of belief. Tell him, I see something powerful in you. And when he doubts himself, remind him who he is capable of becoming. So let me leave you with this. Men are not complicated. They are wired for purpose, fueled by respect, and transformed by belief. If you create an environment where he feels valued, respected, and challenged to grow, he will give you his heart, his loyalty, and his life's work. Because a man doesn't risk everything for just anyone. He risks everything for the one who makes him feel like the greatest version of himself. And when you do that, he will move mountains for you. Now go out there and inspire the men in your life to rise to their highest potential. Thank you. A man doesn't just want love. He needs a purpose in that love. Love without purpose feels empty, like a ship without a destination. Men are wired to pursue, to protect, and to provide. But if he doesn't feel like his role is meaningful, he won't step up fully. This is why history is filled with stories of men going to war, building empires, and making sacrifices. Not for themselves, but for something greater than them. They need a mission, a reason to give their all. When a man feels like he has a purpose in your life, he will naturally become more devoted, more protective, and more invested. It's not enough to tell a man you love him. He needs to feel like he is needed. He needs to believe that his presence makes a difference, that what he brings to the table matters. Without this, he may still love you, but he won't feel driven to give his all. Think about it. Why do men fight wars? Why do they risk their lives for their families? It's because they feel like their existence serves a higher function. This is what truly ignites their fire. A man who feels like he is just an accessory in your life, someone who could be replaced at any time, will never commit fully. But a man who feels like he is irreplaceable, that his leadership, his protection, his strength, and even his presence add something no one else can, will move mountains to keep that connection alive. This doesn't mean you have to make him the center of your world. In fact, the most powerful way to awaken a man's purpose in love is to have your own sense of direction and invite him to contribute to it. If you have dreams, ambitions, and a strong sense of self, he will want to be the man who adds to your life, not just exists in it. This taps into a deep part of his psyche, the need to be valuable to someone he respects. Men do not commit to people who simply demand love. They commit to those who inspire it. When a man sees that his presence elevates you, that his protection gives you peace, that his wisdom helps you navigate life better, he feels a profound connection. This is when he risks everything, when he knows that being with you gives him a sense of mission. Many relationships fall apart because the man doesn't feel like his role has meaning. He may hear, "I love you," but he doesn't feel like he is needed in a way that matters. And here's the truth. Men don't just want to be loved, they want to be respected for what they contribute. If a man feels like he's only there to fulfill a checklist, pay bills, provide support, show up when needed, without feeling a deeper sense of appreciation for his role, he will slowly withdraw. The key is to make him feel like he is stepping into a role only he can fill. This isn't about stroking his ego. It's about activating his natural drive to protect, to serve, to commit fully. It can be as simple as letting him know how much his presence makes you feel safe, how his guidance brings clarity to your life, or how his leadership makes your world feel stronger. These things are not small to a man. They are the fuel that makes him step up and give his all. The most powerful relationships are built when a man doesn't just feel loved, he feels like he has a purpose in that love. When you create an environment where he knows he is needed, he won't hesitate to give you his loyalty, his energy, and his entire heart. Appreciation is to a man what love is to a woman. While love is often expressed through affection and connection, a man experiences love primarily through respect and recognition. He needs to feel like his efforts are valued, that what he does matters, and that his presence is making a difference. If a man doesn't feel appreciated, he won't feel fulfilled in a relationship, no matter how much love is present. When a man feels truly appreciated, it fuels his fire. It gives him energy, motivation, and an overwhelming desire to do more, be more, and give more. This is why men will work tirelessly for a boss who acknowledges their contributions but feel drained in a relationship where they don't feel seen. They will climb mountains for someone who recognizes their sacrifices but withdraw from those who take them for granted. Appreciation is not just a desire for a man, it is a deep-seated need that determines how much effort he puts into any relationship. A man might not always express this openly, but inside he craves acknowledgement for what he does. It doesn't mean he's looking for constant praise or validation. It means he wants to know that what he brings to the table matters. If he provides, protects, and puts in effort, and that effort is met with indifference or entitlement, he will feel unseen. And when a man feels unseen, he will slowly disengage. The mistake many people make is thinking that men should be strong enough to function without appreciation. But strength doesn't mean indifference to recognition. Even the strongest warriors in history were driven by a desire to be honored for their sacrifice. This is how men are wired. If you want a man to show up fully in a relationship, you have to make sure he feels that his presence and efforts are valued. Appreciation doesn't have to be grand gestures or excessive praise. It can be as simple as saying, "I see how hard you're working, and I love that about you." Or, "I appreciate the way you always make me feel safe." These words carry weight because they affirm a man's role in your life. They show him that what he does is noticed, that his actions have an impact. This creates a positive reinforcement loop. When a man feels appreciated, he naturally wants to do more. On the other hand, when appreciation is lacking, resentment builds. A man who feels like his efforts are never enough or never noticed will stop trying. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't see the point. If you want a man to continue putting in effort, acknowledge the effort he's already making. Another important aspect of appreciation is respecting his strengths and contributions. Men thrive when they feel respected for their abilities, decisions, and leadership. If a man makes a decision and it's constantly second-guessed, criticized, or dismissed, he will start to feel like he is not needed. The more a man feels unnecessary, the less invested he will become. This doesn't mean you should ignore mistakes or avoid having your own voice. It simply means that how you communicate matters. Instead of focusing only on what he could do better, also take time to acknowledge what he's already doing right. When a man feels like his strengths are recognized, he becomes more open to growth and improvement. If you want a man to risk everything for you, make him feel like his efforts mean something. When he knows that what he does makes a difference, he will go above and beyond for you. Because for a man, nothing is more powerful than knowing that his presence is valued, his work is meaningful, and his sacrifices are appreciated. Men are often seen as protectors, the ones who are supposed to be strong, reliable, and unshaken by life's difficulties. Society has conditioned them to believe that showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness, that they must always be in control, and that their emotions should be kept in check. But beneath this exterior, every man carries battles, fears, and insecurities that he rarely shares with anyone. He may be strong on the outside, but on the inside, he longs for a place where he can feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. Emotional safety is one of the most underrated yet powerful factors in a man's ability to fully commit, love deeply, and give his all. When a man finds someone who makes him feel seen, heard, and understood without judgment, he will instinctively feel drawn to that connection. He will feel a level of trust that allows him to open up, to share his thoughts and fears, and to let down the walls he has spent years building. And when a man finds this kind of emotional sanctuary, he will fight to protect it. Many men don't talk about their emotions because they have been taught that doing so makes them weak. They've learned that expressing doubts, fears, or struggles can be met with criticism or dismissal. This is why so many men keep things to themselves, why they suffer in silence, and why they sometimes withdraw when they are going through difficulties. They are afraid that opening up will lead to rejection or loss of respect. But when a man finds someone who doesn't see his emotions as a burden, but as a part of who he is, he experiences something rare: the freedom to be his true self. If you want a man to risk everything for you, create a space where he feels safe to be vulnerable. This doesn't mean babying him or fixing his problems. It means listening without judgment, allowing him to share without immediately offering solutions, and showing him that his emotions are valid. When he talks about his fears, don't dismiss them. When he expresses doubts, don't criticize him. Instead, remind him that he is not alone. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for a man is simply to be a presence of unwavering support. Respect plays a crucial role in emotional safety. A man will not open up if he feels that his emotions will later be used against him. If he shares a moment of vulnerability and later it is brought up in an argument or used as a way to undermine him, he will shut down completely. He needs to know that his emotions are safe in your hands, that what he shares in trust will remain in trust. If he feels that his deepest fears or insecurities will be mocked, dismissed, or exploited, he will never risk opening up again. Creating emotional safety also means being consistent in your energy and reactions. If a man never knows how you will respond, whether with understanding or criticism, he will hesitate to share. Emotional safety comes from predictability in how you handle his thoughts and feelings. It means showing that you can handle his emotions without making him feel weak for having them. When a man feels emotionally safe, his connection to you deepens in ways that go beyond attraction or companionship. He will associate you with peace, with trust, with a rare kind of bond that is not easily found. And because emotional safety is so rare in his world, he will protect it, cherish it, and do whatever it takes to keep it. When a man feels safe with you, he won't just love you, he will risk everything to make sure you never lose that bond. Men are naturally wired to protect, provide, and pursue. They thrive in environments where they feel their strength, leadership, and abilities are valued. However, what many people don't realize is that a man's deepest instincts are awakened by the presence of true feminine energy. Masculinity is not something that functions in isolation. It is activated when it encounters its natural counterpart. Just like fire needs oxygen to burn, a man's masculinity is fueled when he is around a woman who embraces her own unique energy, not by competing with him, but by complementing him. Feminine energy is not about weakness. It is not about being passive or submissive. It is about the power of softness, intuition, warmth, and emotional depth. It is about knowing when to lead with strength and when to inspire with grace. A man is not drawn to just any kind of energy. He is drawn to the energy that makes him feel like more of a man. When he is around a woman who embraces her natural essence, he feels a deep, almost primal pull to step up, to commit, to protect, and to provide. The mistake many people make is believing that men want to compete with their partners. In reality, a strong man does not want a competitor, he wants a counterbalance. He doesn't want to feel like he is battling for dominance in the relationship. He wants to feel like he is trusted, respected, and given the space to step into his role fully. The more a woman embraces her natural feminine energy, the more it brings out the best in him. This does not mean suppressing independence or ambition. A woman can be incredibly strong, successful, and intelligent while still radiating feminine energy. The key is in how she interacts, how she communicates, and how she makes a man feel in her presence. Does she inspire him to be stronger, or does she make him feel like he's constantly being tested? Does she bring peace into his life, or does she add more stress? These are the things that determine how deeply a man invests in a relationship. One of the most powerful aspects of feminine energy is the ability to receive. Many women have been conditioned to believe that accepting help, protection, or provision from a man makes them weak. But the truth is, when a man offers something and it is genuinely received with appreciation, it makes him feel needed and valued. When he opens the door and you smile, when he gives advice and you listen, when he does something for you and you acknowledge it, these small acts create a massive shift in how he sees you. He feels that his role matters, and that feeling makes him want to give even more. Another aspect of feminine energy is emotional expression. Men often struggle with expressing emotions in the same way women do, but they are deeply affected by the emotions of the women in their lives. A woman's energy can either inspire a man to open up or push him further away. When she communicates with warmth, understanding, and emotional intelligence, it makes him feel safe and connected. When she constantly leads with harshness, criticism, or detachment, he will begin to withdraw. A man will risk everything for a woman who makes him feel like the best version of himself. When he feels that her presence elevates him rather than diminishes him, he will commit, protect, and go to great lengths to keep that connection alive. The right balance of strength and softness, independence and receptivity, wisdom and warmth. This is what activates a man's deepest instincts. And when those instincts are activated, he won't just stay, he will fight to keep you in his life. A man will give everything for a woman who believes in him, even when he doubts himself. Every man, no matter how confident he appears, has moments of uncertainty, times when he questions whether he is good enough, strong enough, or capable enough. The world places immense pressure on men to succeed, to provide, and to lead. But what truly fuels a man's ability to rise above challenges is not just his own belief in himself. It's knowing that the woman beside him believes in him just as much, if not more. Belief is powerful. When a man feels that someone genuinely sees his potential, recognizes his strengths, and trusts his ability to figure things out, it ignites something deep within him. It gives him a sense of purpose, a reason to push forward even when the odds are stacked against him. This is why so many successful men credit their achievements not just to their own ambition, but to a woman who stood by them and saw their greatness before they even saw it themselves. This doesn't mean blindly supporting a man when he's making poor decisions or avoiding accountability. True belief in a man means challenging him to be better while still trusting his ability to get there. It means holding a vision for him that is greater than his current reality and reminding him of that vision when he loses sight of it. When a woman believes in a man, she doesn't just compliment him, she inspires him to step into his highest potential. Men are deeply affected by the energy of the women they love. A woman who constantly doubts a man, questions his every move, or makes him feel like he is incapable will slowly drain his confidence. He may not argue about it, he may not even express it directly, but over time, that lack of belief will erode his motivation. On the other hand, when a man feels that a woman sees him as capable, strong, and worthy, he naturally starts to embody those qualities even more. He becomes the man she sees him as. Belief in a man is not just about words, it's about actions and energy. It's in the way you look at him when he talks about his dreams. It's in the way you respond when he's going through struggles. Do you doubt him, or do you remind him of his strength? Do you criticize his setbacks, or do you encourage his resilience? The way you react in these moments shapes how he sees himself in your eyes, and for a man, that matters deeply. One of the greatest ways to show belief in a man is by trusting his leadership. This doesn't mean following him blindly, but it does mean allowing him the space to take charge, make decisions, and take responsibility for outcomes. When a woman constantly corrects, controls, or dismisses a man's input, he starts to feel like his role is unnecessary. But when she trusts his judgment and values his perspective, it reinforces his confidence in himself. A man who feels that trust will naturally step up and take ownership, not just in the relationship, but in all aspects of his life. Belief is also about patience and long-term vision. Many men are still working on becoming the best versions of themselves. They may not have everything figured out yet, but knowing that the woman in their life sees their progress rather than just their flaws makes all the difference. When a man feels that a woman believes in his journey, he will work even harder to make sure he becomes the man she deserves. A man will risk everything for a woman who makes him feel like he is enough, yet inspires him to be even greater. When he knows that no matter what happens, she sees his value, trusts his path, and believes in his ability to succeed, he will move mountains to make sure she never regrets believing in him. A man will go to great lengths for a woman who brings peace into his life. The world demands so much from men. Expectations to perform, to provide, to protect, to be strong, and to handle pressure without showing weakness. Every day he faces challenges, competition, and the weight of responsibility. But the one thing he craves more than anything, the thing that will make him commit, fight, and even risk everything, is a woman who gives him a sense of peace that he can't find anywhere else. Peace does not mean passivity, nor does it mean avoiding difficult conversations or ignoring problems. True peace is emotional stability, consistency, and a safe space, where he can be himself without fear of judgment or unnecessary conflict. It is the ability to bring a sense of calm into his life rather than chaos. A man who feels at peace with a woman will always return to her, no matter where he goes. But if a relationship becomes a source of constant stress, he will start to pull away, even if he loves her. A peaceful presence means knowing when to bring understanding instead of criticism, when to offer support instead of pressure, and when to allow silence instead of unnecessary arguments. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or never expressing concerns. It means learning how to communicate in a way that builds connection rather than destruction. A man will listen to a woman who makes him feel safe, but if every conversation feels like an attack, he will shut down, not because he doesn't care, but because he feels like no matter what he does, it's never enough. Many relationships suffer not because love is absent, but because peace is missing. If every interaction feels like a battle, if small issues turn into unnecessary conflicts, if there is no room to breathe without tension, a man will begin to associate the relationship with stress instead of comfort. And when that happens, he will instinctively withdraw. But when a woman learns to cultivate peace, not by avoiding issues, but by handling them with grace and emotional intelligence, she becomes his sanctuary. One of the most powerful ways to create peace in a man's life is through emotional self-control. This doesn't mean hiding emotions, but rather learning how to respond rather than react. If every disagreement turns into yelling, accusations, or unnecessary drama, it creates emotional exhaustion. But when a man knows that he can come to you with a problem and it will be handled with maturity, understanding, and a desire to find solutions rather than assign blame, he will naturally be drawn to you. He will seek your presence, confide in you, and protect what you have because he knows it is rare. Peace also means being a source of positivity rather than constant negativity. The energy a woman brings into a man's life has a profound effect on his mindset and motivation. A woman who constantly focuses on what's wrong, who complains more than she appreciates, or who always sees problems instead of solutions will drain a man over time. But a woman who focuses on growth, who encourages rather than criticizes, and who finds joy in small things becomes a light in his life. A man will risk everything for a woman who makes him feel at home in her presence. If he knows that no matter what happens in the outside world, he can come back to someone who brings him peace, he will never want to lose that. When a woman can be his calm in the storm, his safe space, and the one person who understands him without adding more unnecessary pressure, she will hold a power that no other woman can replace. Because to a man, peace is priceless. Men are driven by deeper forces than just love. They are driven by respect, appreciation, belief, emotional safety, feminine energy, and peace. These are the pillars that create a foundation strong enough to withstand any storm. When a woman provides these elements, she not only nurtures the best in a man, but also inspires him to give more than he thought possible. He will risk everything for a woman who makes him feel valued, understood, and supported. And in return, he will offer a love that is unwavering, a commitment that is steadfast, and a loyalty that goes beyond measure. The secret to unlocking a man's deepest devotion lies in the simple yet powerful truth that he will go above and beyond for the woman who sees him, believes in him, supports him, and creates a space where he can truly be himself. In this dynamic, both partners thrive, and the bond they share becomes unbreakable. When a man feels appreciated, safe, and believed in, he will risk everything, not because he is asked to, but because his heart knows there is no greater reward than protecting and cherishing the one who has brought out the best in him. This is the profound truth of what it takes to unlock a man's commitment and loyalty. And when you embody these principles, the love and devotion you receive will be everything you've ever dreamed of.